First of all, hey, thanks for being here. This is our first event of the year. Let's give yourselves a round of applause for braving the elements today.
The elements.
Right. Hey, it's officially best weather. It's the last day of juicy January. According to Joey. Yeah. All right. So, hey, I just want to say thank you for being here. I want to thank our community supporters. Those of you that are, there's some chairs right over there. We're packed in this room, and that's a great thing. We've got some people that didn't show up. We've got some people that didn't register and showed up. I'm great with it all. This is a jam session, baby. All right. So here's how the day is going to flow here. I want to thank a few people. I'm going to say a few things, introduce our panel. We're going to do a short panel discussion. Jam session. Who went to the last jam session that we had in October-ish or something like that? Okay? All right, this is going to be different than that one. We learned some lessons in that one. We listened to you. We heard you, your feedback. And so we're making some adjustments. So we're doing a short panel discussions with a question or two. Just give you a little bit of a flavor of kind of a baseline of where these individuals are at. They've been assigned tables. So every one of these tables has one of their names on it. Plus we have a couple other facilitators leading these conversations. And then we're just going to jam. And so it is a jam session. So if you think about jam sessions like a jazz musicians, you just bring some people together and you just jam on a topic and you go to work. Nothing is off base. We've got a really tight room. We can push tables together. We can pull them apart. You can spend a little time at one group. You can bounce to another one. Anything goes. It's going to be beautiful chaos. For about 45 minutes, we'll bring everyone back together. We'll have some opportunity to ask some questions of the panelists. If you maybe didn't have, if maybe something came up at a table and it's marketing related, but you were at a more ops-driven table, something like that, you can ask those questions then. And then we'll do some ahas. I have some gifts that I'm going to throw out to the crew if you've got a question that's really damn good. And so we'll give you some swag, and then we're going to wrap it up. We've got the room for about a half an hour or so for networking. Cool? Cool. All right. Quiet already. All right. So I want to thank our community supporters. Who in here is a community supporter? Please say thank you to these people. These, right? So we have our largest amount of community supporters, and why does that matter? That matters because they're making an investment in our community, and it gives them an opportunity to build relationships with you all. It keeps your member dues low. I do not want to nickel and dime you from a membership standpoint. I want to make sure that the organizations that want to support our community can do that and support it so we can stay financially solvent and make sure that we're continuing to provide an unrivaled member experience. Unrivaled member experience is our theme for 2024. We just had our team summit last week. We're I'm not going to say less focused. We are not as focused on growth as we are making sure that we have a unrivaled member experience. We will add new groups, but it's not like we're not going to go at breakneck speeds like we have the last couple of years. So our community supporters are Insperity. Sally's here from Insperity. Madura Partners, Tom. Tradition Capital Bank, Steve. United Healthcare, those two guys right there, Rammer and what's your name? Sai. Awesome, just met you. USI, I don't think anybody's here. And then Verseek, Naughton. There you go. And then we got Boulay. Turbo.
Thanks for coming.
Right. Thank you for hosting, dude. Really appreciate it. And the fun fact is, I literally the space that we had that we were supposed to have this at fell through. I had my C9 session. He's in my group. I'm like, can we just use that space? He's like, yep, let's do it. That was like 2 months ago, so it worked out. Very entrepreneurial. Was it? When did it go? Sounds wise. Kaisa. Justin Cox is not here from EOS. Aaron Mason. Mason Jar Marketing. Thank you very much. Sales Homie. Hey. Security Bank and Trust. Slash flagship. Brandon, thank you. Silent Law. All right, and then Alliance, Bauer Design Build, Entrebank, Melissa's here. Fluid Interiors, who did this space, along with Rachel Marcos from Mel Management. Modern Foundation, Lisa's not here, and then and Beyond Design. All right, that's a lot. I want to thank our event supporters, Stoneford, Garrio, thank you for supporting this event. And Evolved Systems, Don Raleigh, thank you very much. Our event partner is Gemini AMS. Kim, you want to say a couple things about Gemini?
Sure.
Love it.
Stand up.
I would love for you to stand up.
I'm not ready for this. Hello, everybody. Very excited to be here. My name is Kim, and I'm from Gemini Advanced Marketing Solutions. I'm also a very proud C9er, Go Karate Kids.
Yeah, Karate Kids.
A special thank you to you, Eric, for inviting Gemini to be a part of this exciting conversation. We know that AI kind of spans the whole range of, I'm super pumped up, I'm totally involved, I'm exploring tools left and right to, oh my God, where do we start? What are we supposed to do? This is kind of scary. So hopefully, through today's event, we can kind of address all those fears and get everyone excited to take on some new ideas to take home to your companies and make AI part of your life, right?
Yeah.
So a little bit about Gemini. We are a 32-year-old performance-based marketing agency. We started back in 1992. So I don't think you know about Yellow Pages, but that's how we started our company. I placed in Yellow Pages phone books. So very manual job. So when I talk about being a performance-based marketing agency, and this kind of goes in tandem with being a Yellow Page agency to start with, is that we use tools, technologies, and resources to help bring our clients, connect them with their customers, right? And so as all these things change, so did our business. So now, light years ahead, 32 years, we are, well, going back a little bit, I'm sorry, I missed the transition. Once the internet became available to us back in those days, we had to quickly adapt. We had to change our whole business model, scrap the paper, and go digital. And we actually did that pretty quickly over a few years. And before we knew it, we were adding more and more different services to our roster, always with the intent of making our customers' programs thrive and making them more successful. So with that being said, we are now kind of facing the same type of transitional era, very much like the internet, but now it's with artificial intelligence. And so if you would have asked us 2 years ago what Gemini was doing with AI, we would have said, oh, no. I know our tools, they're kind of embedded in there, but we're definitely not doing anything with AI. Well, now it's become kind of the epicenter of our agency. Of course, we're still doing marketing programs, but AI has found its way into everything we do, especially in marketing. So the help of Zach, who is really kind of the pioneer in our agency, we have infused AI into the way we work. We become more efficient. Our programs are getting smarter. They're getting more effective, and we're saving our customers money. On top of that, we've now introduced a new service to our long list of services, AI consulting. So it's to help these people over here that don't know where to start. And what we like about C9 and events like this is that we can help kind of companies get on board and let them go to the next level of their lives. So good luck, panel.
Awesome.
Good luck, Zach. Do us proud.
No pressure, Zach.
Thanks, guys.
All right, let's meet the panel.
I feel like we're on a game show.
Yeah, come on down. To my left here, Don Raleigh. Don is the Revenue Operations Manager at Evolve Systems and Evolve Payment, where he has been on the team for nearly 9 years now. Don isn't just a process optimizer, he's an AI evangelist who uses AI tools to increase efficiencies for his sales and account management team, collaborates on strategy with his marketing team, and uses generative AI with his merchant services clients in the accounts receivable process and auto-populate that. This is a lot of stuff, dude.
Those are 3 sentences.
Said 2 to 3, one of them is a runoff.
Did I screw anything up? Don's approach to AI is to not use AI lightly as a toy or pet, but a true resource in your tool belt as a business leader in the marketplace. Don, thank you for being on the panel.
Thanks for the great introduction.
Thank you for the longest introduction I've ever read. I appreciate that. Zach is from Gemini, so again, no pressure, Zach, being on the panel. Zach began his professional career focused on marketing. After over 6 years of experience in the field, he began working with AI by automating social media accounts. Now his focus is on incorporating AI with automation to facilitate growth and efficiency at Gemini AMS and other organizations. Thanks for being on the panel. Another long one from Garrio. Yeah, this doesn't surprise me, Garrio. Garrio has spent his career in the intersection of sales and marketing, helping business leaders use sales technology and social media platforms as a core part of their business growth strategy. It's not just theory either. It's what he does himself. Today, as the Chief Growth Officer, he leads Stoneford's online executive branding business offering, which integrates AI into the process to make it more cost-efficient and accessible for their clients.
I think you beat me.
Rock and roll, Garrio. Jen Swanson from Tuckpoint Advisory Group. Jen is the CEO and Principal Advisors for Tuckpoint Advisory Group, a boutique firm that helps companies going through digital transformation, ensure their organization, teams, and leaders are up to the challenges ahead. She's worked in product leadership and customer experience strategy for more than 25 years here in the Twin Cities. Her clients range from mid-cap to small enterprise and are all struggling with how to fit AI into their tech strategies and purpose and security in mind.
See, I followed the rules. You said short
You
and
brushed
sweet,
it.
and I did it,
You
man.
brushed up against it. Let's just be honest here. Tom is the second shortest. Tom is deeply invested in the interplay between AI and human development, focusing on AI as augmented intelligence in line with Microsoft's Copilot strategy. His belief is that the fusion of Microsoft's cloud infrastructure, low no-code power platform, and the growing range of copilots will transform everyday solutions akin to the widespread impact of tools like Outlook and Excel. And he put in this is kind of funny. Soon enough, there'll be just utilities that we complain about. Just like everything else. Then we got a couple other people here. So I recruited a few others because we have 8 pods. I call them pods. We have 5 panelists. We've got Ryan McKesson from Solution Design Group. Ryan, thank you for being here. We have Tim Bornall, Independent, and Ryan Salzman from West Shore Home. Woo. All right. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to ask a few questions, then we're going to disperse them to tables. They've got their name is on the table that you're at. If you've met someone or you heard somebody here and it's like, I want to dive into that a little bit more, don't be afraid to move tables, spend a little bit of time. We've got 45 minutes, so you can spend time at one table, move to another. The only thing that's going to stay constant are the people that are the subject matter experts that are going to be at your table, and then we'll reconvene at the end. They have conversation starters that they're going to be getting that conversation going. Those are just rails, right? Rails on the bowling alley, just to keep it to where we're going to go down and hit a few pins. We just don't want to go on the gun, so they're going to keep you guys on track. Okay? All right. Jen, what is the biggest misconception of AI technology and how it applies to small business? Did you say damn?
I did. Like it wasn't a worse word out of my mouth. So the biggest misconception, I'm not going to answer that question, but I'm going to answer a similar one. I think the issue with AI in business today is that it's like, the end all be all. Everybody has to have it. It's like, I've met plenty of executives that are like, I got to have an AI strategy. AI, and they're a hammer looking for a nail. The old adage. And I think the issue that is perhaps the most important one when you're thinking about what you want to, how are you going to integrate AI into your business, is to start with the problem and not the solution. So AI is the solution, and if you're coming at it thinking about first about AI, you're thinking about the solution first. And personally, I'm a pragmatist first and foremost. And I think that whenever I talk to clients, I'm always thinking about the problem first. So what problem are you trying to solve? And when you start with the problem first, what problem are you trying to solve and who are you trying to solve it for? Then you will know how and what kind of AI, because let's be honest, and Tom, I know you want to get into definition, right? AI can mean a whole bunch of stuff, right? AI is not a monolith. There are tons of tools out there. And if you can start with the solution first, start with the problem first and then go into the solution, you narrow the field to the right kinds of tools, because that's all it is, right? Just a tool. You narrow the field to the right tool for the problem at hand. And I think that's the issue that I think leaders, particularly executives, have to keep in mind. So that's my answer.
You want to jump on that, Tom?
That'd be great. Yep.
Yeah.
Great to start.
Yep.
To build off of that, I think identifying problem statement is very important. And I think the sort of Venn diagram between our perspectives is that there is a bottom-up and top-down aspect to like working with AI. I think the bottom-up aspect is more of the like individual contributor experimentation. Get people access to Copilot, get them access to ChatGPT or Bard or whatever tool your company can start experimenting with. I think the top-down aspect is the more like executive level sponsorship and alignment to strategy, which is, I think, in that sort of art and science world of like executive team needs to be aware of problem statements, but they also have to be aware of like what's possible and what's coming and finding some sort of overlap between those worlds. To jump back to your original question and hopefully tie these various ideas together, I think the big misconception around AI, to Jen's kind of foreshadowing, is we're not talking about the same thing. And that is just a helpful place to start, especially classic consulting. Let's define what you mean when you say that. But I really do think that's an important exercise with AI. And as I gave in my introduction, I think augmented intelligence is a better framing because most of us are not working on deep machine learning. We're not working on like predictive analytics at a hyperscale level. Since we're not working on that, I think we can focus on the other parts of augmented intelligence, like intelligent meeting assistants, summarizing and generating text, things that are easier for us to get started today.
Nice. Anyone else want to comment on that? Zach?
Yeah, so I would agree with you that identifying the problem and then utilizing AI as the solution to solve that problem is definitely best case for someone getting started in the space. One thing that I would add to that as a little caveat, however, is introducing AI into your organization and getting your associates' hands on the technology can kind of allow you to solve problems that you didn't even know existed. So for example, we recently finished a pretty large project where we built a custom chatbot for an e-commerce client. This chatbot we had trained with kind of the capability to be able to give phishing recommendations and give strategy and targeting kind of tips depending on what species they were going for. It was made completely for their customers to be able to have a resource to identify, what lures they should be using to go catch walleye on the lake this weekend. And what we quickly realized is their actually customer service team started using it live on calls to be able to answer questions now for customers calling in. So it ended up solving a problem that they didn't even know existed. So I would say getting started right away, knowing kind of the basis on where you want to start, people can kind of take it from there, start solving issues.
Yeah. That experimentation piece makes a lot of sense, right? Like, and I think it follows any kind of innovation kind of cycle, right? Like, again, like having a strategy before you've experimented or you've taken some time to like think about what could be, like it follows any other cycle, any other technology, right? Like, if we go back, a couple decades and think about what big data could have done for an organization, right? Thinking about, data lakes and being able to think about how you can merge, huge data sets to be more predictive. Like starting off with the strategy of that before you've actually experimented about what that could do is foolish, right? You got to do a little bit of blue sky thinking before you go in with the strategy. This is no different, right? It's just another tool, but you gotta think things through before you come through and be like, oh, shiny object, AI, we must have a strategy, right? You gotta do the work.
And as one of the first questions you'll get from the subject matter experts and our panelists is just to kind of set a baseline of where everyone's at the table of knowledge, right? And everyone I think has maybe toyed with it a little bit. Maybe you haven't because you're just not there yet. But I think that'll help create kind of a healthy discussion and kind of creating that baseline of where you're at in knowledge and what some of that experimentation has been. Don, any comments on the misconceptions?
Yeah, I think that a lot of the AI tools that people are using in our everyday lives are kind of being treated more like pets or toys, like in my introduction. How many of you remember Googling yourself for the first time? Yeah, we all looked ourselves up and we're highly disappointed, right? We're not movie stars, not rock stars, but I think that AI is kind of being treated in the same way. Just like in a Google search, you can use different formats of different text, images, and different ways of finding searches that are better curated for your business or for something that you're searching as a consumer. AI is being treated in the same way. You're scratching the surface of tell me or write a blog for me on this subject. Oh, that's not really diving into it. One of the things I'm looking forward to in diving into the jam session is talking about process automation and how we've been able to reduce the amount of time spent on projects and optimizing the experience not only for the customers, but for you as well. How do you consume that information and put it out in a format that is consumable or from a proposal standpoint? Or what are some ways that you can increase your efficiencies when it comes to, like in the introduction, PCI DSS? How many of you have heard of PCI compliance before? Yeah, a couple of you are interactions with the accounts receivable process. The PCI DSS, the data security standards, is a test that each of you as businesses must take in order to prove that you're processing credit cards efficiently and securely. If you're not PCI compliant, if there's a credit card transaction that goes through it that is a fraudulent transaction, you are liable for that transaction as well as a fine of $50,000. That's where you've heard of Target getting fraud from, the website where their HVAC company had a secured portal and they were hacked into, and that's where I believe it was like a $50 million lawsuit that happened. Because of the way that we use PCI DSS assessments through AI, we're reducing the amount of time where it takes an average of 3 to 5 hours for this test down to 5 minutes. It all comes down to what is the return on investment on some of these investitures that we're making, but more importantly, what are we doing to save return on time? That's what I think the biggest message of AI is.
Garrio?
Yeah, just to build on what you're talking about, saving time and that sort of thing. I think it really comes down to
Speak up.
Oh, yeah, it's in the back. Yeah, I think it really comes down to, we're all talking about this new technology, but there's really not a mental model that's been available before to anchor to. So when social media came out, you could anchor it to TV. Like it's broadcasting, but it's us that's broadcasting, right? When you think about search, right? Hey, I'm looking for something. I'm going to ask this magic box and it's going to give me an answer, right? I'm looking for someone on LinkedIn, I'm searching for them. I'm looking for someone on Facebook. I'm looking for someone, looking for an answer on LinkedIn or on Amazon. You're searching. AI is completely different. It's more like I think someone mentioned it too, it's more like a thought partner, right? So you really do need to completely change how you're even thinking about and valuing any investment being made in it as an individual versus like it just being a tool. So just as we're thinking about these ideas, just keep that in mind, like throw conventional wisdom out the window and come at it with like a beginner's mind. That's kind of where we're at right now.
Zach, I'll start with you on this one. So in your opinion, based on your area of expertise, what is the number one opportunity for a small business to invest into AI?
So in my opinion, the number one opportunity for a small business to invest in AI would be in automation and integrating it with automation, I would say. Right now it is more of an augmented kind of intelligence where there is the requirement for a human being to be able to review the work it's doing. However, by incorporating AI with automation to be able to complete work without that human initialization, without that initial human touch, can just really drive efficiency, really help you kind of scale your organization and grow without the need to hire those additional human resources and kind of invest even further into resources outside of kind of AI and the automation technology space. So that'd be where I would say.
All right, cool. Don?
I think that where we're able to start off is kind of what we were talking about on the video called setting up this presentation, was talking about you need to have that input first. There's so much going on with what does it mean to have a legally binding document in our world today. And I'm sure that the lawyers in the room are absolutely fascinated with how documents are being created today. I mean, for goodness sakes, our AI policy was written by AI at first. And it's a great way to get ideas started, but you need that human element to confirm that it's an actual legitimate document, because AI loves to lie. There are countless times where you will say, hey, give me a comparison between this concept and this idea. How can I blend the two together? and they will pull documents or they'll make up false references. Because I always try to say, like, give me the references to this blog article or to this idea so that it seems more legitimate. But what happens if it's a false? Lawsuit that never existed, but the reference looks really good? How do you reference the reference? I think that's a huge area of opportunity where you need that human element to make sure that you're actually doing what you say you're doing. Don't lie to your employees. Don't lie to your customers. AI will lie to you.
Garrio.
What was the question? What's
Number one, small business opportunity to invest into AI.
I think the lowest hanging fruit where you can see like value today is going to be communication, right? Just the speed in which you're able to communicate both internally and externally. I'm not saying think about it through the lens of AI is going to write for you, but as a thought partner to get started and editing, it can help you like be a lot more efficient with what you're trying to communicate, both internally and externally.
Cool. Jen.
So as a small business owner,
Yeah.
I would agree on the thought partnership. I'm using it a lot to start. I hate a blank page. Like, I really hate a blank page, and I can get stuck on a blank page for a long time. So just getting started on like what are 3 concepts that I should be thinking about when I'm talking to somebody about X, and I then honestly 9 times out of 10 disagree with it, but it at least is getting me started. So that's one way. And I'm using a lot of the summary and synthesis tools of like just I listen different in meetings because I'm transcribing a meeting for my ears only, not for publication or anything else like that, but I'm using transcription tools and summary tools. So I'm not spending time writing things down. I'm actually listening and engaging with customers or with interviews and things like that differently. So those are some of the tools that I'm using, and I think that that's probably the easiest way in. I will say though that like I'm very careful because I have so many contractual obligations that involve security and privacy and things like that I actually can't use a lot of the really fun stuff that's out there.
Yeah.
That's like automatic plugins to Zoom and WebEx and things like that I'm not allowed to use.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to be very careful with that. But I do have found ways around it that are more contained and air gapped and whatnot that I can use to help myself be more efficient.
Cool. Tom.
Yeah, I'm glad that I'm going after Jen because I can just say, yes and to all of your points. I think to reiterate the augmented intelligence piece, I think that is the helpful keyword takeaway. To your earlier point about don't try this is shiny and new and it's exciting, especially as someone who likes shiny new things. But then sort of sobering up, it's that balance, right? Was it write while drinking, edit while sober, or something like that? So let's be excited. Let's what's possible? And then let's kind of get boring and important and practical and be like, all right, what can I do today? And that air-gapped augmented intelligence, I think, is the low-hanging fruit starting point, because you don't need all of IT and legal's buy-in, depending on the size of your org. That might really slow you down. So improving an individual's workflow, if it's not you, delegating to someone on your team who has the time and willingness to figure it out, and then figure out some cadence to report back to you. Because I think this is one of those things that we can't wait and see, but as Hamilton, the musical, taught us, you got to be in the room where it happens if you really want to be involved with forced, metaphor here, but I think you guys can see where I'm going. So I think we have to play with the tools to a certain extent to get some value out of them. And wait and see is prudent in some areas and not prudent in other areas. So kind of sifting that out for yourself.
Anybody else want to pile on?
Yeah, one other low-hanging fruit is one thing that you all are familiar with is stock images. AI and the ChatGPT 4 is phenomenal for creating AI-generated images, because a blog article image can cost anywhere from $3 to $15. If you're writing 4 blog articles a month, that can add up over a year. And while it's a minor transaction, it's not just necessarily the dollar that matters, it's the small death by 1,000 cuts. We all, as business owners, if we could save 30% of our revenue to put it back in the business, we'd all be retired by now, right? It's about those small microtransactions that you can actually be more efficient. And think about your website. One tip or trick that I encourage you to look into is if you're doing AI-generated images, you'll notice that hands are freaky. They're more like octopuses sometimes. If you type into ChatGPT and say, make sure that the humans are wearing gloves, more oftentimes than not, they actually do a good job of having all 5 fingers. Yeah, that's a fun one.
What about choppers?
Choppers, they're
Yeah.
great.
Choppers.
Let's go. Yeah.
I love the
Fire away.
idea, but I would also like to just make a little ethical plug.
Yeah.
In that there are photographers and creatives and people who write for a living who are going to be decimated by AI. And so yes, $5, $10, $15 for images may sound like a lot, but that's a living for people. So
Yeah, it kind of goes back to that.
if you
know,
can
we-
afford it, buy the images.
Right,
That's
like,
all I'm
look-
going to say.
Look how long the writer's strike took in Hollywood, right? And how many months and months and months, and that was the sticking point, right? Was that where's that respect line lie? So I
Yeah.
think that's a good example of where that was happening in
Yeah.
real time. Should we jam? Let's jam. Any questions for the panel that you want to throw up there or anything like that? Brian?
I got a question that I just thought of at the end. I asked this in the smoker here. But if you advertise with your product or service that you are utilizing AI, how does the prospect client view that in your eyes? Not that maybe you're using it internally, but you're also advertising. What is, I guess, your guys' take? Maybe you can take from the group.
Are they a qualified buyer? Are you getting the product in front of them? Is it a product they could actually use? What other questions do you have? From my perspective, if I sit on a round table with other business team leaders, and the question that comes up of, would you care if there was something that got to you that was AI? And at the end of it, it doesn't matter. Does it get in front of the client, yes or no? Does it convert, yes or no?
I would say there are some kind of ethical transparency issues that you should kind of address surrounding that topic. One thing that I would note is a lot of clients are going to be saying, well, if this is taking you quicker, it should cost me less because now it's taking you less time, right? So I think it's important to kind of explain how you're providing additional value to them by kind of eliminating and reducing the redundant work and then allowing yourself more time now to do the really human work, which is the thought-provoking stuff, the innovation, things along those lines, and show value through that extra medium with the additional time you have, I think is kind of the route I would take.
Yeah, the strategy versus the actual labor.
Correct.
Okay. Brian? C9 socks. Ah-ha! Told you I had prizes. Everyone loves prizes. Come on, you guys know that. Rob?
So there are an endless amount of different AI tools, and every day there's more and more. Is there a resource out there? You can go down these rabbit holes, but way too much time on this, right? Are there resources out there to say, okay, this is what I can do with AI because I don't know what I don't know, and here are the decent tools? I mean, there's so much out there.
I think you're looking at
I have a funny
answer.
I have a funny
The
answer.
resources.
So one of the tools that you can use is ask AI for AI tools. Type into AI, I'm looking to optimize this process. Do you have any recommendations for a software that would optimize X? And you might just get a response. That's what I've done.
I think one other way to approach the decision is like, what ecosystem are you already committed to? If you're not familiar that you're committed to an ecosystem, you should probably ask coworkers because they might know. But like Microsoft, Google, Salesforce, these are all growing and sprawling as ecosystems, and they own parts of the data, and so that is the rails that AI is running on top of. So to some extent, staying ecosystem aligned, I think makes sense, while also doing like 10-20% dabbling outside of your ecosystem.
I think that one thing I'll build on that to say is, one of the places where I always point people that are trying to figure out, okay, where do I start, is YouTube. There's a lot of thought leaders out there that are talking about the technology, talking about the latest research, talking about tools, and the beauty of YouTube's algorithm is if you start to follow certain things, then more of those things will come to you. And I think it's just a really good way of just immersing yourself, getting into the weeds to really figure out like what's piquing your interest and continuing down that rabbit hole.
And I'll just say too, like follow Tom's Curious Connector newsletter. That's really great. Garrio, you post a bunch of stuff about that. Don, I know you post on LinkedIn about it. Ryan Salzman does a great job about posting on that. Tim does a great job posting about that. Ryan McKesson, like we've got people in this room that you can just follow on LinkedIn or connect with them on LinkedIn, and it's going to be in your face. And that's I've learned a shit ton from just you guys posting about it. So to me, I appreciate that.
And then I would add to, not just YouTube, but on LinkedIn, go in and just like spend, your lunch hour or your morning coffee or whatever, scrolling through LinkedIn. We talked a lot at our table about learning to write prompts, because it's not the same as writing a search query. Yeah. So like we all learned how to write Google searches. It is not the same thing, because how you write an AI prompt is very different. And there's a ton of really great resources on LinkedIn. Unfortunately, I cannot find my person, but if you go on there's people that do great infographics and like long form posts on how to write really great prompts on there and things like that. So like, get curious, and just even like in 15-minute chunks, scrolling through some of these thought leadership sites, you will learn a ton.
Who's got? We got one more question, and then I want to do ahas. Nathan?
Yeah, I asked this question to Zach in our small group, but would appreciate the panel's perspective on this. What are the next 2 or 3 capabilities or innovations that don't exist today, or maybe in their infant stage, that excite you the most in regards to AI?
One is AI like first applications. I think we're still in the early days of figuring that out, but Microsoft has something going called Project Sophia, and I got to play around with it a little bit, where you put in what you're trying to do, and it creates a canvas in front of you. So rather than having any kind of pre-baked user interface elements, as we're all used to with CRM and other tools, it is generating the entire interface and functionality essentially on the fly. It is very early stage, so if that's not your cup of tea, don't waste time on it, but for you, that might be something interesting to look into.
Pass.
The thing that I'm most excited about, so a lot of these like large language models and things are trained on like human language, right? So it's subjective. If you hit refresh on a prompt, you get a completely different answer. But I think we're moving towards, and there's some research papers out there and so on as well, that these companies are really starting to invest in math, right? Which have very like right or wrong answers. Like it's either yes or no. And what I'm excited about is once those models are trained in that, it opens up a world of possibility beyond just creative thought partnership endeavors. You can start to, if you're a early stage founder, you can have literally a 40-year experienced CFO at your fingertips running financial models for you, right? It opens up a lot of possibilities, and I'm guessing we're going to see it this year.
Wow. How about any ahas?
One that I would say is I'm really excited about mental health. We're seeing all about with AirPods about how they're starting to be able to read brain waves. I'm really excited to see AI prescribing people for getting the mental health that they need.
Any ahas?
Yeah, I think for our table on Garrio with just the framework and rule of 10-80-10. So like 10% kind of your prompt, your raw input, AI doing 80% of it, and then you kind of take
10% check it.
Yep. So just a good
That's
framework
good.
to.
I owe you a pair of socks. I'm going to get you. Any other ahas?
I think one from the back table, Sally, Cy, and Adam all kind of share different parts about how many of us work in sales or sales adjacent roles, and emotions are a big part of the buying process, especially kind of like large sales cycles, and figuring out, kind of related to the mental health angle. AI, oftentimes we're thinking like this is technology, but thinking about like the emotional aspect of how it can help us communicate better, maybe help us connect better emotionally, is like not immediately intuitive, but I think there are strong use cases there that we can lean into.
Nathan.
I use ChatGPT a lot, and while we were talking, my aha was like I struggle understanding what all it actually little paralyzing. And just a structure that we came up with was like, I could almost kind of put hats on it in the same way that we as business owners often have to like wear a bunch of different hats. It can be helpful to be like, I have my sales hat on, I have my operations hat on. Do that with the GPT. Be like, okay, you're a thought partner right now. And then you do a couple prompts, take the hat off for yourself mentally and be like, now you're an executive assistant. Okay, now you're my customer. Okay, and just helpful framework for me to not get overwhelmed by the potential.
Great. Yeah, one of the aha moments that we had was if you're not behind the ball, you're still in the middle of it. You're not too late. You're not past it. You're not too slow. You are in it if you're in this room. One of the best ways to go about it is start off by poetry. Say, write me a poem about my name. Hey, my anniversary is coming up next month. Write my wife a poem about how much I love her. Start with that. It's a tricky, dangerous path because the poem from there on.
That's the 10-80-10 rule.
That's right. And I think that's a great, good segue. So the main thing in this is that it's a pretty nebulous topic, right? And everyone's got different, that's why we start out with creating a baseline, but what we have is a community of people that are A, curious, but B, we've got some people that have really invested some time and resources into knowing this, so you're not alone. So you've got resources here that are part of the community, you've got people within the group here that know enough to be dangerous and are subject matter experts, so don't be afraid to leverage the community to make sure that you are always on you got a good pulse on what's going on from an AI standpoint. We could do this event every 6 months and it would be a different event, right? I'm not going to do that, but we seriously could. So, follow people, follow thought leadership, read up on it and make sure that you're connecting with the people that know a lot about it. I want to thank, first of all, I want to thank you guys for dedicating time here and being a part of this. Thank you. Round of applause for yourselves. Keep that round of applause going for our panelists here, Don, Zach, Garrio, Jen, and Tom. Our subject matter experts, Ryan, Tim, and Ryan. Yep, thank you guys. I want to thank our community supporters that make this thing happen. Let's keep that going. Let's thank our event supporters, both Stoneford and the Boulay systems. Let's thank Gemini for being our event partner. Let's raise that up a little bit more for our T9 team. Thank you so much, you guys. Was that?
Boulay.
And then thank you, Boulay, for and thank you for Boulay for hosting. We feel really good about where we're at from our event standpoint. So we are keeping our events page on our website dynamically updated. We are booked through the first half of the year, so all of our dates are ready to roll. So our next event is on March 5th. That is going to be a curling tournament and a Bonspiel event, Forgotten Star, and a happy hour. We've got our own event space, so that's really cool. That'll be an afternoon event. The event after that is going to be in May, on May 15th. It's going to be a business operating systems panel discussion. I'm really excited about that. That's at Abyssina Cultural Center on the Lincoln Lyndale location. Really cool. Abe DiMaggio owns that space, and we want to make sure that we're amplifying the good work that he's doing down there. And then going into June, we've got a breakfast pop-in at Tradition Capital Bank. Okay? Keep an eye on those things. Always keep an eye on those things, but we will push things to you as well via email. And then please share your feedback via CC. Our little AI that we've invested into. So send your thoughts and your feedback on what you thought about this event. We'll continue to evolve and provide you an unrivaled member experience. Thank you, everybody.